gone for a while because my work has really picked up and it's been a crazy time. But I wanted to come on here today and do this video because I felt like it was important to share from my personal experience, either through being a full-time employee or an intern or taking up projects under contract or being an independent consultant or a freelancer. I have had over 10 jobs in the last 10 years, and over that time I have developed some tips and tricks to get my foot in the door and ensure that I'm seeing some success in my job hunt. So I wanted to share that with you today, and I ran a poll on my Instagram. Even in my small network of about 3,000 people who saw my stories, about 500 of you responded on that poll saying that you have either not been able to find a job or that you have lost your job during this crazy time. That was something that got me quite emotional because I know what a job can mean to all of us, and I wanted to be able to help. And so if you know someone who is struggling and that might benefit from this video, do share it with them. And if there's anything else that you would like help with, feel free to DM me or drop in a comment and I will figure out a way to start a conversation with you. Before I proceed into the actual tips and tricks, guys, do subscribe to my channel. I plan on sharing a lot more about my experience navigating the corporate world, and if that's something that's interesting to you, then you should definitely subscribe. And also don't forget to click the notification bell because that will inform you every time I post a new video. So the first point that I want to talk about might seem very obvious to some of you, but I think it's worth mentioning, and that is to make sure that your resume is updated. And when I mean resume, I don't just mean the copy that you will send out to your potential employers, but I mean having a consistent narrative and an updated timeline of events across all of your online profiles. So that could be LinkedIn, AngelList, Times Jobs. Wherever you are present and searching for jobs, you should make sure that you have an updated timeline of employment and that you are representing your work in the best possible way. So it's going to take a bit of time to frame your resume, one that you're completely satisfied with. So make sure that you are spending 2 to 3 days or maybe even more updating your resume and giving yourself the best shot at being recognized by an employer. And now when it comes to building your actual resume, I do have a couple of tips because I have been on both sides. I have scanned a lot of resumes to hire people, and I have also sent out my resumes to a lot of employers. So one of the things that I look out for in a really well-built resume is that it's just a single page document. I don't think that recruiters or hiring managers have a lot of time to skim through pages and pages of work experience. How many ever years of work experience you have, if you had to pick 5 to 6 of your most significant jobs and list them down in a very succinct way, it should not exceed more than 1 page. Try to compress your resume into one nice single pager which represents you in the best way. And if you have a gap in your resume, and I know a lot of us do because we've taken time off for personal reasons or whatever it may be, there are certain ways that you can cover up for that gap or explain it in a way that informs the employer about what's going on. One of the ways to do it is to omit the months when you are listing down the duration of your work experience. So let's say you took up a job in May of 2017 and you went on in that job till Feb of 2019, and if you took a few months gap in between and you started working again in December of 2019, the way I would list down all of my work experiences: 2017 to 2019 I worked in the first company, and then 2019 to present I'm working in the second company. So get rid of the month, and definitely if it comes down to an interview stage, you can always bring it up and explain your gap and why you did what you did. If your gap is more than a year long, then in a section on your resume where you're listing down miscellaneous skills and experiences, definitely mention the duration and use the right language to express why you took a break. It could be that you were on a sabbatical or for personal reasons. You don't want to hide it from your potential employer that you were on a break, or leave them without an explanation as to why that is. Definitely make sure that your resume is super updated and it looks good. If you want to take a professional's help, that's also great, but make sure you are going to someone who you trust. Put your best foot forward right from the start, and that does mean making sure that your resume is perfect. My next point is about doing a really thorough search of the job market. Now, how many of us can say that we have actually gone into page 7, 8, 10 of a LinkedIn or a Times Jobs and really taken note of all the job listings that we could even remotely be eligible for? No, sometimes I think a lot of us give up halfway, or we feel like if we have applied for a few jobs, then that's good enough. But unfortunately, unless you are in a really specialized field where your skill set is in demand, then it really is a numbers game. The more jobs you apply for, the more your chances are of hearing back from a percentage of those companies that you applied for. So I would definitely encourage that you maintain an Excel sheet and you make a list of all the job opportunities that are out there in the market and give it a fair shot and make it an everyday task to go onto the job sites and do your due diligence to look for jobs. And another thing that I like to do is, if a job is listed on a job site, I will also go to the company website and make sure that it is listed there as well, because that definitely means that the company is actively hiring for that role and it's not an old job posting. So I definitely do a couple of layers of sanity check, and at the very least I would encourage you to apply for a minimum of 10 jobs a day and have that process go on for about 2 months, 3 months. Sometimes it even takes a lot more time than that, but definitely don't give up, and always remember that it's a numbers game, so you just have to keep applying. My next point is about reaching out to your professional network and why you shouldn't be afraid to do so. Now, who is your professional network? It doesn't always have to be an ex-colleague who you have a great relationship with. It can be literally anyone who you have been introduced to in a professional setting. It could be your ex-employer, an ex-colleague who you don't know that well. It can be an ex-manager, whoever you know in a professional setting. It's worth reaching out to them, and you shouldn't feel shy to do so. Writing out a well-drafted short email where you explain that you are looking for a job, where you would love to engage them or understand from them what it's like to work in that company or what are the opportunities that are available. I encourage you to reach out to your professional network and ask for very specific things from people. People respond better when it feels like you are an authority on what you want and you are out there trying to get what you want. Make sure that this is something that you are doing every day, where you're writing to at least 1 or 2 people and letting them know that you're looking for a job, so they will have you somewhere in mind should an opportunity come up, or if they already know of something that is available, they're definitely going to keep you in mind, just for the simple fact that you stood out by writing to them and making an impression. So that actually brings me to my next point, which is to not be afraid to ask for referrals. When it comes to referrals, I understand how it can feel, which is that you feel like you're trying to pull this huge favor from someone, and a lot of us don't do it properly. But I think that asking for referrals is one of the best ways to get recognized. In fact, a lot of resumes and applications don't get read because employers usually prefer or give more importance to resumes and applications that come through referrals. That's just how it is, at least in tech. So if you know someone who is working in a company that has a role open that you might be eligible for and that you would like to apply to, don't be afraid to ask for a referral. Now, that can only go one of 2 ways. Either that person doesn't know you well and doesn't want to refer you, so that's an opportunity lost, but you know for sure that that's definitely an opportunity lost. Or it could also go the other way, where you ask them and they're happy to refer you because there is some compensation or some incentive for a person to refer others. It doesn't take much really, just a nice, again, like a nicely drafted piece of communication where you're saying, hey, I am looking for jobs. I happen to come across this one in this company, which is really interesting to me. I feel like I could be a good fit for it because of my so-and-so experience. I would really appreciate it if you could drop in a referral for me. Let me know if you need any information or if this is possible at all, and send it out. Even if you don't hear back from that person immediately, try to pursue them a couple of times till you get a confirmed yes or a no, because then you can start looking at other sources if it's a no, and if it's a yes, then you can start the process of applying for that job. So don't be afraid to ask for referrals. I think that a lot of us are very reluctant, but definitely would recommend that you ask over not asking and just staying quiet. My next point is around looking at unconventional contacts for a job. Even if there is a small scope of learning or earning an income, it's always better to have a job and keep looking for your dream job as opposed to staying unemployed and looking for your dream job. So I would encourage you to look at unconventional sources. Do you know anyone who has a family business that may be hiring someone? Do you know of an NGO that's looking for people? An unconventional contact may just end up surprising you, and you never know till you apply and till you get an offer in hand whether you would really want it or not. So why not reach out to these unconventional sources? It could even be a family friend. So take some time and really think about your network and whether there is an opportunity to maybe apply to an NGO or to a family business or something like that. Definitely do write to a few people and try to understand what is out there. Go all out. Again, this speaks to the fact that it's a numbers game. So you really just want to be out there and apply to as many jobs as possible. In the past, I have taken up a lot of jobs that I didn't think were directly things that I'd be interested in, but the learning has been crazy, and so much so that all of those jobs have led me to where I am today. And looking back, I have no regrets about going the distance and applying. My next point is about leveraging your social media to find a job. So at this point, I don't think there's any difference between a LinkedIn or a Facebook or an Instagram. I think you should leverage your social networks and just inform people that you are out there and you're looking for a job. You never know where an opportunity may come from, so it's always worthwhile to let people know that, hey, I'm out here and I'm looking, and I would really appreciate any help or leads that you may have. The next thing that I want to talk about kind of ties into looking at unconventional contacts, but that is to sign up for freelance work. Is there any skill set that you feel like you can put to use? Are you a graphic designer on the side? Do you have a skill set in writing content? There are websites like freelancer.com, upwork.com. I will list all of these resources that I'm mentioning below, so you can take a look, but you'll have to fill out an application, and if your profile gets accepted, you can start taking in freelance work which you will be paid for. And it may not be everything, but it's something. And I think that, I do believe that something is better than nothing. And from past experience, I have taken up freelance jobs that have come through an online website where freelance work is being posted. So consider freelance work if you've never done it before. It's definitely one of those avenues that can potentially hold something for you. So let's just say that there is absolutely nothing right now. There are no opportunities. You have done everything that you possibly can, and you are just not hearing back from anyone, or you're being rejected from a bunch of jobs. Trust me, you can use this time productively. And I know that it's very stressful for some of us, and it's very easy to get demotivated, and financial constraints are a big factor. But if you have some free time, and if you have a little bit of savings that you think you can use to invest in yourself, my next point is about updating your skill set. In whatever field you are in, there are some certifications that you can take to upskill yourself that might look good on a resume, or that is a skill set that is in demand in your area of work. Like, for example, if I am a content specialist or a content strategist, I can and I should upskill myself by doing like a UX strategy course or a UX design course. That's something that I would definitely be interested in, and I know for a fact would be impressive, not only impressive to a potential employer, but will also add to my repertoire of things that I know. So that also opens up other opportunities for me. When I've had about 3 to 4 months to spare, I have taken up some project or the other. It's either an online certification or a course to upskill myself, or I've just blogged, and it's something that once I've gotten into the discipline of doing, has proved to be very satisfying in one way or another, and has definitely contributed to being able to get a job opportunity. So do use your spare time to upskill yourself if there is an opportunity for that. And that brings me to my last point. Let's just say that you are applying for a bunch of jobs and you are in the process and you are expecting to close all of this out, hopefully in the next 3 months, 6 months, whatever. You don't have to wait to get your foot in the door or to get through to an interview, to start preparing for interviews. I would say that it's always worthwhile to start preparing for interviews even when you don't have anything in hand. Every time I've gone in for an interview, I've never wished that, oh God, I wish I was less prepared for this interview. I have always wished that I had prepared a little bit more, I was a little bit more thorough, and the words came to me a lot easier. So keeping that in mind, maybe what you can do is make a list of all the most popular interview questions. Simple things like, tell me about yourself, take me through your work experience, can you talk about a project that you were successful in, what are some of the things that you implemented, what was something that didn't go too well, what are your learnings from it, how do you work with your manager, do you like working in a team, what are your strengths, weaknesses. It can be whatever. There are just so many possibilities of questions that you can get in an interview. So make a list of the generic ones and try to do like a quiz with yourself. Try to answer these questions and build a narrative that you are very comfortable and thorough with. So the moment an interviewer asks you something like that, you are not stumbling around and trying to find your words, but it's because it's something that you have practiced. You have woven together the story so many times before that it comes very easily to you. So definitely start preparing for interviews way before you actually get the opportunity to interview. So that's it, guys. These were the 9 or 10 points that I wanted to talk to you about. Do give this video a like if you found some of this information helpful and useful. I would love to know what you are planning to implement in your job hunt, and ultimately just know that I feel for you. In everyone's career there are ups and downs, and whatever you may see as like a 2-year gap or a lost job that you don't think you can ever recover from, believe me, if you like me are planning to have a career that spans 20, 30, 40, 50 years, 2 or 3 years or one lost work experience really doesn't matter that much. It all gets covered up and adjusted for along the way, and you will be fine. So just remember that I have gone from having one of the best jobs in the world to not having a job at all to taking a break for 2 years. So I just want to leave you with a little bit of a positive thought. Don't worry, just do your due diligence and be hopeful. I am so sure that something will work out for you. Guys, that's it for this video. Do stay subscribed to my channel. I am planning to share my next video very soon. Until then, I will see you. Bye.